In this video, we'll be looking at powers of I. Now, I is the imaginary unit for complex numbers. Remember that by definition, I is defined to be equal to the square root of -1. So this is I to the first power is just I, or the square root of -1. Now if we take I and square it, and we square both sides of this equation, you'll see that we'll get I squared, and that's equal to the square root of -1 squared, which is -1. So now we have I to the first power is here, and then I squared is -1. I cubed we can write as I squared times I, but we know from this step that I squared is -1. So this is -1 times I, which is -I. And then I to the fourth is the same as I squared times I squared, which since I squared is -1, we know is -1 times -1, which is +1. Now, notice here on I to the fifth that that's the same as I to the fourth, which is just 1 times I. So we're back at I. So we have I, -1, I, 1. And then we start over with I, and then I to the sixth is -1. So we have this rotation here with I to the first power is I, -1, I, 1. And then we start over I, -1, I, 1, and so forth. So it would be beneficial for you if you would remember this rotation, I, -1, I, 1, and then anytime you need to simplify a power of I, you'll have this available. One way to remember this, my students have a few years back showed this to me, and they said, I won, with negatives in the middle. So if this little I, -1, I, 1 sing-song rotation does not help you remember, you might remember I won, with negatives in the middle. However you do memorize it, you'll need to. So, if I were asked to simplify this expression with powers of I, over on the side, I'm just going to write I, -1, I, 1, and use this to help me simplify here. 3 times I cubed, and what I'll need to do is find the third level of my rotation. So this is 1, 2, 3. So I cubed is the same as -I. Plus 2. The first level, because after 4 it starts over again. So this will be the same as I to the first, which is just I. And here we have 3I. And then here we have 2 times, and then I squared is -1. So this is -3I plus 2I minus 3I minus 2. Now notice that this is the only real number that I have, So I would write that first, and then combining these are combined just like terms are combined. So I'm going to do my negatives first. Negative 3i and negative 3i is negative 6i, plus 2i will give me negative 4i. And this is my standard form. Remember, a plus bi, where a is the real part and b is the imaginary part.